Listen, I'm going to be completely honest, and I'll call myself out, okay? I'll call myself out. I always do if I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, the Habs are shocking me. I think they're like 8-1-2 or something over their past 11 games. Like, they are on fire, unlike the flailing Maple Leafs. Now, to be clear, we don't know if the Habs are going to make the playoffs yet, but there are some good signs, and I absolutely love to see it. The one thing that I want to remind any Montreal Canadiens fans that are watching this, Montreal, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter how bad their team is, it does not matter. They always do something in the playoffs. Do I believe if they get in the second wild card spot that they could do something? Absolutely. Montreal has a history of doing this, like squeaking in the playoffs and actually being like really good. Remember the year they had that horrible team, but they beat everybody on the way to the Cup Finals? Now they eventually lost to, I believe, Tampa. But at the end of the day, this is a team that has a history of being good in the playoffs. And credit where credit is due. So the article that I'm going to be talking about is Canadiens beat Senators and leap into a playoff spot. Nick Suzuki's power play goal late in the third period lifted the Montreal Canadiens past the Ottawa Senators 6-3 in high-intensity rivalry matchup on Tuesday. So they have been really, really coming together. Now, I know that I've touched on their defense a little bit and how I really do believe that their defense needs improvements, but they have gotten a little bit better at that regarding. Now, they obviously need a centerman as well, don't get me wrong, but this is quite impressive. Being a playoff team with 15 games left to play, the data would tell you, I don't want to be a huge stats nerd for you guys, but the data would tell you that they have a very, 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 very good chance of making the playoffs. Like, if I had to guess right now, I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to make the playoffs. And this is absolutely far and away what I thought was going to be possible with this team. Although on this channel, I have consistently said that I'm telling you right now, the playoffs are better with Canadian teams in them, especially the Montreal Canadiens. I hope they make the playoffs. To click on that game and watch the Montreal Canadiens building go wild on TV. It absolutely sucks not having that team in the playoffs. Now, currently the Montreal Canadiens have 73 points in 67 games played. Now, people are going to point at the New York Rangers that they are only 1 point behind. But again, guys, you have to look at points percentage. Points percentage is the most important thing because it's a little bit misrepresentative when people are saying that. The Rangers have played 69 games, so let's presume the Montreal Canadiens will get at least 2 points in those next two games. They're actually like 3 points or maybe even 4 points ahead if they keep on going on this tear. Again, I do think that the Montreal Canadiens, I would way rather the Montreal Canadiens make it above the New York Rangers in my opinion. Now, one other thing that I want to draw you guys to, it matters being competitive. The Montreal Canadiens at the trade deadline, they took a very unique approach. They actually re-signed Jake Evans, right? Which, honestly, in my opinion, I called it when I made my last Montreal video. That was a smart decision. Sometimes actually keeping the good players that are playing good on your roster and not just trading them away, you can actually get better that way. You don't always need to sell off assets. Now, would I recommend the Montreal Canadiens stop drafting in the first round and they give and they start making stupid decisions if they're a Stanley Cup contender? I would say no. That's not my opinion. But again, that was a smart decision by them. I like seeing teams buck the trend and say, you know what, we're going to try something a little bit different. Next thing you know, guys, you could be the Buffalo Sabres every single year, no matter what, losing, and selling off assets and doing the same thing every year. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again. Cough, cough, Maple Leafs, if you know what I mean. Now, one thing that I said about the Montreal Canadiens is that they are probably going to be able to score a decent amount. If you look into the data, they actually have a 3.02 goals per game, which is slightly above average according to the statistics altogether around the league. That's something that I predicted. I still think that they can score quite a bit. They got Laine, they got Suzuki, Caulfield. I mean, they got Ivan Demidov, who's obviously not on the team right now, but he is coming. I really do think that this run is going to be important for the reason that you want to attract free agents to your team. you know. Now, maybe this is a little bit pie in the sky, but I do think the Montreal Canadiens also need a centerman. If they go on a big run, could they attract a free agent, even if they overpay him, like Sam Bennett? I don't think that's impossible. Is it really that impossible they do that? Sometimes competing is good because you want to represent to other players that you're not just tanking every season. It gives off a bad vibe, and it makes your organization into kind of like a loser organization. And that's not what I want to see from a historic franchise like the Montreal Canadiens. Okay, so question of the video. My opinion is the Montreal Canadiens at this point are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to make it above the Rangers. They have a couple of games in hand on the Rangers, as I've already established in this video. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is kind of fake? Do you think that they're going to fall out? The thing about the Montreal Canadiens is they can get really hot, but they can get cold too, right? So you have to take that into account, that this might not last forever. God, I really hope it does. Oh my God, I would love to see that building in the playoffs. It's been a little bit too long since we saw Montreal in the playoffs, so I really do hope that they actually finally make it this year. My prediction for the Montreal Canadiens at the start of this year was that they were just going to miss the playoffs. They were going to get close, but they were just going to miss the playoffs. I really hope I'm wrong, because it's always better to have more Canadian teams, and especially Canadian teams that are actually passionate about their franchise. And honestly, one other player before I end this video that I wanted to give a shout out to is Nick Suzuki, man. Honestly, this guy was drafted by the Vegas Golden Knights 13th overall, and I know that the Vegas Golden Knights are a really good team, and at the end of the day, they won a cup, so who really cares? But man, oh man, did they give away an absolute stud. An absolute stud. This guy's got 70 points in 67 games. 70 points. He's on pace for about 85, 86 points in a full season. You know, a centerman, right shooting defenseman, Canadian kid, London, Ontario. You gotta love it. So big shout out to Nick Suzuki for the season that he's having as well. Anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.